You are going to make this worse if you start stealing badges.
Welcome to WatchMojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 events gone wrong.
They decided it would be better if they banned me from their event for life.
They can't come through. 2 million said they'd be there. 200 made it to the gate.
Hours before kick-off, people had already started to gather, and through the afternoon, Wembley Way continued to fill up.
For this list, we're looking at disastrous planned events from parties to parades, tournaments to festivals, and more. Let us know in the comments which event you'd be brave enough to attend. Number 10, Adrian Lopez's birthday party.
All right, we just showed up to Adrian's kickback. Let's see how it is.
When California teen Adrian Lopez made a digital flyer for his birthday party in May 2021, nobody expected it to become the must-attend event of the year. But when one of his friends posted information about Adrian's kickback on TikTok, the bash took off exponentially.
It grabbed the attention of tons of users online, people from all over the country saying they were traveling here for the weekend so they could party.
The party gained the attention of various social media personalities. Adrian tried his best to try and get an actual venue to keep things contained. Unfortunately, the party still descended into chaos.
When Huntington Beach police attempted to disperse the large crowd, some of whom were being unruly, the crowd pushed back, setting off fireworks, tagging buildings, and destroying property. Police arrested 149 people for vandalism, illegal use of fireworks, and curfew violations.
The scenes were likened by many to a riot. However, lots of partygoers reportedly had a good night. Number 9, storming Area 51. In 2019, an unusual Facebook event went viral. Over 2 million people agreed to attend the Storm Area 51 event.
20-year-old Maddie Roberts started a Facebook event to storm the Air Force Base, and 3 million people have RSVP'd. The Air Force also responded, saying it stands ready to protect America and its assets.
The attendees hope to find out the truth about whether the top-secret facility is hiding evidence of aliens.
I'm sure there'll be a lot of just, look at that, did you see that? Wait.
But despite the large numbers of people promising they'd attend and confront the Air Force, very few people actually turned up. The Alien Stock and Area 51 Base Camp festivals held in Rachel and Hyco, Nevada, both had an extremely low turnout.
It's more about a gathering of like-minded people, having fun, sharing stories, and hopefully seeing some of those UFOs they see out here all the time.
Storm Area 51 was a resounding disappointment, especially since it didn't even come close to proving whether aliens exist. Fortunately, no would-be trespassers were hurt by authorities for trying to break in.
We're talking about 2,000 people who flooded into Nevada after a call on Facebook to storm Area 51. About 200 of them have made it to the main gate, but that obviously a much smaller number than the nearly 2 million who had pledged to raid the U.S. air facility.
Number 8, Barney Goes Bang. As beloved as New York's annual Macy's Day Parade is, it's not the best event to put on when the city is being battered by strong winds. Barney the dinosaur learned that the hard way back in 1997.
This stupendous balloon is furnished by the folks at Lyric Studios.
Of course, unfortunately, Barney had to succumb to the winds as well. This is on tape. Balloon Barney's 4th great adventure down Broadway.
Although the weather had been windy before the event, that didn't change anybody's mind about the parade. His friendly float met a catastrophic end after being blown into a sharp lamppost. Barney was ripped apart after people lost control of his balloon, in a dramatic scene captured forever on camera. When it was finally uploaded to YouTube decades on, his grisly demise was immortalized on the internet. Number 7, Jaguar at the Olympics. Much of the Amazon rainforest is located within Brazil. Event organizers wanted to bring the rainforest and its many exotic species to represent the country at the 2016 Olympic Games in Rio. That led somebody to have the bright idea of bringing a jaguar to sit by during the torch relay. Unfortunately, the animal ended up escaping. To make matters worse, although the jaguar was found and tranquilized, the trigger-happy soldier ended up fatally shooting the big cat. These actions got the organizers in hot water with many animal rights campaigners. The people responsible were forced to apologize for the error of judgment of bringing a wild animal to a public event. Number 6. Tanacon. In 2018, YouTuber WatchMojo felt like she'd been dissed by the organizers of VidCon, the biggest convention for online celebrities.
I will not even begin to explain to you the devastation that I felt. In my career, that is definitely top 5, top 3 even, devastating moments.
So she decided to host a rival event. She called it Tanacon and used her fame and connections to create a line of incredibly famous internet personalities. Names like Shane Dawson and Gabby Hanna were supposedly going to attend, but Tanacon was a disaster from the beginning.
It was a joke. It was like there was no booths, there was nothing to do, there was no real food or water.
No food. Yeah, there's no.
We have nothing to eat. It was incredibly disorganized, with tickets being drastically oversold to a venue that wasn't big enough for everybody.
It just was a lot of empty promises, and then it got canceled afterwards. So I know that people were really upset that they wasted thousands of dollars to go to this event.
People were lining up in the street in the LA sun for hours without proper access to water, and all the guests needed to be refunded as they pulled out one by one. Number 5. Euros 2020 final.
Wembley Way looked like this. Thousands and thousands of fans, far more than the number of police or the number of security guards. That's normal for a big game, but it's a factor in understanding what was to follow.
The 2020 European Football Championship was plagued with issues. Not only did it have to be delayed for a year, but much of the tournament was marred by bad behavior. This came to a head in the final between England and Italy, played in Wembley Stadium in London. Rowdy England fans who hadn't been able to get the tickets decided to storm the stadium to watch the game.
With stewards overwhelmed and the police absent, others appeared to take the law into their own hands.
One of them even took the seat of the Italian coach's young son. The resulting violence on the day of the final was appalling and shocked the world watching. It's not clear why the stadium didn't have adequate security that day, but the vast majority of people within and without the UK definitely condemned the scene.
I wouldn't take my boy to a game like that, and I won't be taking him to an England game for a very long time.
Number 4. Stranded at Tomorrow World.
My interpretation of the key of happiness would have to be spending time with others and sharing space and experiences.
A little bit of chaos at a music festival is to be expected, but things got way too out of control at Tomorrow World in 2015. This event took place over a September weekend in Georgia, where there was so much rain that the roads and campgrounds dissolved into mud. The poor weather led to the cancellation of lots of transport. This in turn left plenty of people stranded outside of Atlanta because everybody who wasn't camping on site was refused entry. Since many had no way to get home, there were people who had to spend the night in the woods or by the side of the road without shelter.
They had zero transportation, the whole place was covered in mud, and like I said, they shut down 75% of their parking. We paid for on-site parking, which we did not get.
Number 3. Gender reveal wildfire.
It's so heartbreaking. You just pray something like this doesn't happen.
Over the last decade or so, gender reveal parties have started to incorporate elaborate firework displays designed to reveal a child's gender. Unfortunately, some of these celebrations have caused massive destruction. The Eldorado Fire that raged through California in 2020 was one of those gender reveal parties that went awry.
People were really concerned about the impact that something that started off that seemed so innocent ended up having such a amazing impact on people in the community, their homes. In this case, a life was lost.
At least the ones who caused the fire called the authorities and owned up to what they'd done. Unfortunately, they were also responsible for the destruction of over 23,000 acres of land and, tragically, the death of a firefighter battling the blaze.
It injured 2 additional firefighters. There was loss and damage to residential buildings and other structures, and had a tremendous impact on the community of San Bernardino.
In July 2021, the couple was charged with 30 offenses, including manslaughter for the death of firefighter Charlie Morton.
He's fighting a fire that was started because of a smoke bomb. That's the only reason he's there.
Number 2. Dashcon. Dashcon was designed to be a convention that was by and for the kids who used Tumblr back in 2014. It hoped to cater to the fandom culture that has always been a major part of Tumblr. Unfortunately, its organizers had no idea what they were doing.
What are you doing right now?
Waiting.
For how long?
More than an hour.
On the first night of the event, hotel staff told panelists that the organizers hadn't paid for their accommodation, and they'd have to do so themselves. And then it turned out the organizers still owed for the use of the convention facilities too. They immediately tried to raise $17,000 through crowdfunding so the event could continue. To top it all off, after panelists pulled out, the organizers infamously offered guests additional time in a ball pit as an apology. Before we unveil our number one pick, here are some honorable mentions. Best Picture Mix-Up. La La Land was mistakenly announced as the Best Picture winner instead of Moonlight. LG Balloons. 20 people were hurt when LG released balloons containing vouchers in Seoul. Number 1. Fire Festival. Though nobody knew it ahead of time, Firefest was doomed.
Anyone who'd ever been involved with event production would have understood that this wasn't possible. Like a wedding planner would have known, like absolutely no way.
This event was led by rapper Ja Rule and Fire Media Inc. CEO Billy McFarland. Firefest was supposed to feature many big names performing on a small island in the Bahamas. All the tickets to the island cost a fortune because it was supposed to be a luxury music festival. When guests began to arrive, it turned out that they were going to be staying in damp tents and eating cheese sandwiches.
The cheese sandwich. That was when I knew this was done.
They were left stranded on the small tropical island as performers dropped out. In the aftermath, both Ja Rule and McFarlane were sued. Ultimately, McFarlane went to prison for fraud.
It was basically the exact opposite of everything we were promised.
Do you agree with our picks? Check out this other recent clip from WatchMojo, and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.